everyone. Hey, congratulations on your new film, Wake Up.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you.
You know, these type of films are such a fun movie, especially on, like a Friday and Saturday night. But you know what? We have to ask that obligatory question to everyone is what initially drew you that you want to be part of Wake Up? So I guess since there's so many of you, I'll call you guys one at a time. Turlo, go ahead and start first.
I think what drew me was the kind of darkness of the character. I was like, there's something interesting here about this kind of mad character who descends into proper primitive hunter mode. That's what kind of got me. I was like, I think I could do this. I was like, I think it's going to be an interesting challenge. And it certainly was that. It was a whole thing.
How about for you, Benny?
Um, I think for me it was I think it's the whole topic of activism. I feel like well most of us are at an age where you see the world around you and you think about how you can improve it and how you can contribute to it. And then yeah, just married that idea with like a gory slasher, something that I've never done. It's a genre that was completely new to me. It felt like yeah, the perfect combination to get my hands into.
Charlotte?
What didn't draw me? Okay, what drew me was the script because in reading it, I was so surprised by everything that was happening, and that's always a super good sign. What drew me was shooting 6 weeks in the Canary Islands. It was just the most amazing sort of outlook. And then I think the stunt work, because I knew that it would be a lot of stunt work. So I was like, I love anything that's physical. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And it was. So yeah.
Jacqueline.
Um, for me, I guess it was, well, so before shooting Wake Up, I was actually very like, I don't watch horror films. I can't, like, I never watched horror films, or if some friends tried to make me watch them, I'd be like, no, I can't. Um, and so I was curious how it would be kind of on the other side of things, like shooting it and that whole process. I was very curious to see how that is. And actually, since then, I enjoy horror movies a lot more, and I like going to horror movie festivals and all of these things. So that's great. And then I guess also because when I was auditioning, Yasmin's role was kind of sold to me as like the final girl, the smart one, the one that kind of figures things out, that tries to save people and all of this. So that really obviously interested me in the character as well.
Alessia?
I think just the whole concept. I remember I read the script for the first time. I was like, who wouldn't want to see like a bunch of kids trapped in an IKEA? I'm sorry, but boiling down to basics, I was like, this is just so entertaining. It seems like something I would have dreamed that as like as a kid. You get trapped in a supermarket or something. It's like I think the concept was just great, and the way it was written, I thought it would be just so much fun to watch, and then doing it actually was incredibly just fun and the whole idea and I'd seen what the directors had done, and they just are so aesthetic and so visual and innovative with their ideas. So I was like, it's a really great combination of artists and you know newness, new something fresh and new. I think that was what was so enticing about the project.
And lastly, Tom.
Um, I was a broke teenager and it sounded better than working in a bar. No, I was, Kareem's quite an anxious kid, and I'm quite an anxious person, so I could relate to him through that. So I could kind of see myself in Kareem in different parts of his character, and just the prospect of being away for 6 weeks in Gran Canaria for a first acting job sounded amazing. And I watched Summer of '84, and I loved that film. So I was just really excited to work with Joanne and the Nuke, and as has kind of been spoken about already, the whole kind of climate activism thing. I think it's so important, and I was just excited to tell that story and hopefully help get that message across as well.
One of the most wonderful things about this film is you could really sense that camaraderie, that chemistry amongst all of you folks. Can you folks tell us what did you actually do to develop the chemistry with each other? Where there's like an activity that you all partake? Maybe they put you in the paintball tournament. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So because we were all on location and we were each other's friends essentially, and so from the very beginning we would always go out to dinner together or go get drinks together, sort of explore the island. Yes, we had paintball training. We actually had a lot of stunt training, which just by nature, because you're physically very close, it sort of bonds you. And I think, I don't know, Yuan and Anouk completely encouraged us bonding outside of the rehearsals and outside of like work. And we took that to heart, and it was so natural and easy. And I think that that really helped the sort of group moments that happened in the film.
Anyone else?
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, it's just called acting because no, I'm kidding. But even though I missed the paintball tournament because I joined a little later than everyone else, and everyone keeps bringing it up, and even like years later, everyone still keeps bringing it up. But yeah, it's just like it has been like to this amazing group of people, and that even though I came later, I was just like sucked up into it, and yeah, we go out together and just bond, and yeah, like the close skin to skin contact and like the whole like stunt training would do that for you as well. Yeah, and it's just yeah, luck as well. I think that you have like a group of people that just really work well together.
Yeah, I also think
I
like,
think it's a you go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry.
You go ahead. No, you go ahead, Alicia. You go ahead.
No, I think that one of the things that like doing these kind of scenes where you're, screaming and running, and it's just it puts you in a really vulnerable position if you're shooting this kind of stuff all day, every day. So it really bonds people, I think, tiredness and exhaustion and excitement from these scenes where your heart is pounding on your chest. I think it really puts people together. And also going out for dinner every night. Not gonna lie.
I think as well, I completely agree with that. I think it's also down to Yuan and Nook as well. Whenever you're putting together a show and you're putting together a cast and you're going to be on location, a big part of that is going, how are these personalities going to mix? How are they going to get on? Are they going to be able to create a bond together that will feel real and feel natural? And you can tell that, whenever you first meet people, you can kind of be like, oh, I like your vibe. I like how we get on. We have a very easy nature way about you. Then suddenly everything else, all of the work, all of the preparation that you've put in, and also all of, as I say, the very, very hard work that every single person as the cast put in and every single member of the crew put in, meant that you were like, we've got 25 days to get this movie done. And we are going to work our arses off to get it over that line. And whenever you're all pulling in one direction, you can't help but bond. You go, right, okay, I'm knackered. It's the end of the day, but we need to get this shot done. Let's do it. So yeah, it made you sort of, come together in a beautiful way.
Yeah,
Well,
just to kind of. Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt you?
no, no, no. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, just to yeah, well, touch on what everyone else said. The stunt training and the dinners, and we were shooting, all prepping and shooting like during the World Cup. So lots of discussions about who was going to win the World Cup, and I was also really lucky in the sense that I'm Irish, and Turlough and Aiden, who's not here, Irish. So I kind of had that connection with them already. Irish abroad. So that really helped, and Joanne and Anouk were so sweet because I was the youngest and it was my first job. They were so sweet with me, and everyone really took me under their wing. So I just have to thank all of you for that, really, and kind of helping me get through my first experience on a set. So yeah.
Well said. Charlotte keeps on bringing up the stunt training, and it seems like everyone went through their own special stunt training. But I'm going to start with Alessia first because I understand you had a special training yourself being on the blades. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the blades, the good old blades. It was an experience because I remember like since I didn't do the casting for my character, I did a casting for the character of Jacqueline Yasmin. And then I got the character of Grace. They told me that, can you skate? And I was like, of course. Of course I can. And then actually, I had to train and I put them, everyone was like, you do sports, you should be fine. And I put those on and I was like, oh, this is a whole, like this, I have to learn this skill. So I had about, I think a week and a half to learn how to skate. And it was really hardcore. I mean, I had like whiplash on my neck. I fell so many times. It was very intense. And then on set, I fell so many times. I had like a little meltdown as well one day. But then you see the movie and you can barely see me even skating. But yes, definitely like it was an intense few weeks leading up to actually doing that. But in the end, I got much better throughout the process. Like I improved it. If it was chronological, you could see that I could slightly getting better at skating. But yeah, that was kind of
do
my
you still
fun.
skate now?
No, I haven't touched it. Every time I see anybody with the skates, I'm like, ugh, the goosebumps. But it was fun. It was fun. I do have it on my scales on my TV now. Roller skating basic. Yeah.
Well,
So,
you you certainly did it. I'll throw this to Jacqueline. Jacqueline, without spoilers, you had an experience with, I want to say, wire work in this film, and I'm kind of jealous because I would have loved to do that type of stunt training. But how was that?
I mean, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but it was we actually didn't have that much time to rehearse that. Um, because I think it wasn't still quite sure how it was going to happen. I think it changed a few times, and so we kind of I had to practice a lot how to fall properly, um, because well, depending on how you fall, you can hurt your neck, and anyway, and so I mainly had to practice that, and then I know I wore a harness under my clothes. So I had like a layer of clothes so that I don't get burnt by the harness, and then the harness, and then the costume. So they had to buy like a bigger size of my normal costume. Um, and it was just very I just felt like I was three times my size. And I was like, well, I hope I don't look too huge. Um, but after a while, like it was very technical. I felt like I was constantly thinking about what I'm doing. And I was worried that I wasn't acting because I was just like, okay, I have to fall like this and I have to jump because I had to fall in a specific place because I basically kind of jump a bit backwards and pulled by the string that's attached to the harness and then have to fall back on a specific mattress. So there was this whole thing that I was constantly like thinking about, and then I was like, oh wait, but I also have to act. So that was a whole experience, but it was a whole lot of fun, and the stunt team was really great. So I'm grateful for that as well.
Was that a one take for you, Jacqueline, or was it multiple takes?
Oh no, it was multiple takes because there was always because it was so technical. Also with the camera had to match the movement of the stunt and everything. So it was definitely multiple takes because there was just so many technical things that had to be in place for that.
You
And
should have just said it in one take.
I should have.
Turlough, your size difference with all these other young actors are very noticeable in this film. Because when you go toe to toe with like Charlotte or Benny or Tom, it seems like you just toss them like around like a rag doll. How do you do it without hurting them?
Um, well, hopefully I do it without hurting them. That's not been proven yet. Um, uh, yeah, I think look, there's a big thing about being a bigger person and being an actor. Being a bigger person, being an actor, there's so many limitations put on you. You can't do certain things, you can't be certain things because that's not what. And it was kind of very interesting to me whenever this project came along and they were like, whenever I first saw it, I was like, yeah, I know who they're gonna go for. I have in them in my mind who they're gonna go for. And then when they went for me, I was like, oh, okay. So you want that. You want that size. You want that contrast. You want that interesting thing. And I mean, doing the stunt training is stunt training is stunt training. It works the same with all bodies. You have precautions, you have certain things that you can and can't do. And I'm very fortunate to have had a lot of experience doing that. I've kind of been since my very early jobs. I've kind of been doing 10 years off and on of doing random bits of stunt work in between random period stuff. So, it's kind of it's I know how to hold myself, and the training helped me with everyone to be like, I know where the pressure is too much, and I know when it's too little. I know what looks real. I know what doesn't look real, and also 90% of the work is on them. I just hold something, and then they have to make it look great. you know, so, so I'm there like, oh, this is actually quite easy. I'm just holding my hand up, and they're like, so they're doing all the work to look like they're being thrown around like rag dolls. It's an easy day at the office for me, really.
I think
So
that that's something most people don't actually realize is that the one being attacked is the one making it look real, basically through tension and like through wiggling and stuff. I think that you don't know that when you're just a normal person watching a movie.
Yeah, I
So
mean there was times before sorry, there was times before takes or I need to get psyched up and I just say to Taylor, just like do that thing you did to me in that scene. You'd be there like, all right, I'm gonna fucking kill you, like that really hyped me up. And yeah, sometimes as well you just need to be thrown around to look real. Sometimes just the way the camera's working, there's no workarounds. You just have to be thrown around sometimes to make it look real on camera. You actually have to do it. So but obviously the stunt team would put precautions in place and it would be fine. But it was a lot of fun, yeah. And thanks to Tyler, he made it look great too.
I have to say, it took a psychological hit on me, throughout the time, seeing all of your lovely faces in the evenings, being like, "Hi, you Turlough," and I'm like, I just saw your face like screaming at me because I was killing you like 10 minutes ago. I'm gonna take a little bit of I have to just readjust here for a second before I'm like, hey. But we got there.
Lenny, could you add along with your scene with Turlo?
Um, I mean, it was just yeah, it was like a tango between the two of us. I mean, it was just like really up close and personal, and it's still burnt in my head and in my mind. But I feel like the entire setting because it was also just like in the dark and it was just it really just came together like beautifully. And
Yeah.
I actually mean it when I say the word beautifully.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there was so many deaths, but that one was quite tricky because there with so many of the other ones, I was able to have a real like physical. I'd be throttling them or be holding them or something. But with this, it was so intricate because I was having to swing this meat cleaver at Benny's head. It was all in the timing and all in the shot. So it was all Benny doing amazing acting whilst staring at me, going, okay, are you about to hit me? You're about to hit me. Yes, you hit me. Yes, okay, you're about to hit me. So it's like, and blood all over your hands, everything's slippy. You're going, I'm just holding on for dear life here. But they all sold what I was attempting to do. They all sold it brilliantly and made me look a lot better than I am.
I, I know Charlotte keeps on talking about stunts, and she had to really sell her part in this film.
It was awesome. I remember we rehearsed this in like stunt training beforehand, and it's difficult because, of course, there's the possibility of hurting yourselves doing this. I don't know. Can I spoil? I'm just gonna say that he like has to hit me against the wall. And I remember I recently watched the film to like refresh my memory. I watched it with my boyfriend sitting next to me, and he kept saying, "Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Like that can't be you." And I was like, "Yeah, it was me." Because there's like padding, and then because with like sound effects and screaming, you make it seem much worse than it is. but I love it because it was so choreographed and I've been dancing my whole life. And so it was so awesome to have that choreography with Turla. I don't know. I love doing stunts. It was so much fun. Yeah.
And Tom, I understand this is your first on-screen role, and you had difficult stunts because you have to crawl under crevices and
Yeah.
getting tossed around frontwards and backwards and all that kind of stuff. Tell us about the ordeal they put you through because I feel like RKSS wasn't nice to you.
Oh, I loved it. Stunt work's probably one of my favorite bits of the job. But all that stuff like crawling under the stalls, that was all my first day on set. It was my first ever day in a movie set. And they eased me in really nicely. The first shot I did was just walking up and looking at like that, like a hallway and then turning. But then by the end of the day, I had Turlo chasing me around, and I was crawling under stalls and throwing myself at walls but I just have to thank, the stunt team and everyone we had around us and Turlo for like it wouldn't have been as easy to do if I didn't trust Turlo as much as I did. And he made it really easy to trust him and just I felt safe the entire time and but there's also, there's a lot of stuff with me and Turlo as well where like his face is really close to mine. There's a lot of acting going on within the midst of the stunt stuff happening at the same time. So just, required a lot of focus and trust, and I think we pulled it off pretty good. But I love doing it. So yeah,
And I just want to
Yeah,
take a moment to reiterate the fact that like Turlo is like the sweetest, nicest guy. Like
yeah,
I met him. It's just like it's really crazy that the depth that he went to, the length that he went to like, really sell it. And yeah, like one moment you're just like laughing with him, and the next moment he's like literally like the most psychotic look on his eyes. And yeah, it's just really just I say the word testament a lot. It's a testament to his craft. Because look at him,
yeah.
he's so nice.
Ah, shucks, you guys.
It is really funny because how do you hate a guy who's on a Zoom call in a Hawaiian shirt and every time I look at him I'm like, isn't he the guy from Ready Player One? Don't we all love him?
We
Oh
do.
yeah, no,
We do.
I'm on holiday, so the Hawaiian shirt. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I mostly wear Hawaiian shirts. I'm like a Benihana guy. It's great. It's wonderful. I'm like, get me down, get me down, get me with a pina colada, and I'll have a lovely time.
I'm used to either seeing Turlo covered in scars and fake blood or a Hawaiian shirt. So to me, it's one of the two now.
And one more major thing about being in a horror film is it's not being afraid to getting down and dirty. And in this case, the blood and gore really represents in this film. Can you all talk about, I don't know if this was your first experience getting bloody and gory in the film, but can you all talk about your personal attachment and experience to getting down and dirty in a film like this? Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead,
I
Tom.
mean, it was, there were long days, and that fake blood gets really, really sticky, and it gets everywhere. And the prosthetics as well. I mean, the prosthetics and makeup team were amazing. It looks so good on screen. Um, but yeah, the fake blood, it stays. I mean, I did a pore strip one day, and there was fake blood on the pore strip. So, and this was on the weekend. So it doesn't go away easy. It gets really sticky and really uncomfortable. But I think that kind of adds to the performance, because it's not nice to be bloody. So, but yeah, it's hard to get rid of. That's what I'll say.
This was my first time ever doing a film in this genre. I have had bloody shoots before, but never anything that was this explicit. I mean, I saw pictures of like a hole in my head with my brain popping out, and it was like pretty gross, but yeah, but you just learn to love it. And like Tom already said, it's like everywhere, but you just learn to love the greasiness and the stickiness of it all, and you really appreciate it because it all just adds to the experience, and it adds to your performance, and it's something that you can like lean onto also to help sell what you're trying to like portray. So yeah, I guess you just learn to just like go right into it.
Yeah, that's a really good point from both of you. I think it's also that thing of like when you have that much, and whenever you're doing continuity, and you're like, okay, I can't get all this stuff back on me, and the makeup teams they're doing it. It also helps get you into character and get you into that space. Whenever you're putting those layers back on, you're putting the prosthetics back on, you're putting that time, you also end up giving yourself time. And you don't always get that time on many sets because you're going, right, okay, what's the lines? Okay, they're needing to rush me out to get me in costume. I need to rush back in. I'll just finish off that little bit when we're on set. But they didn't do that. They were like, no, no, no. If we're doing this much prosthetics and we're doing this much blood and doing this much of everything, it meant you're like, okay, in a morning, I've now got half an hour to really just solidify myself, get myself into that space, get ourselves into that headset of what's happening in the next scene, what's happening later on today. And it kind of really helps with a kind of ritual to be like, right, okay, it's coming on. And of course, it's sticky and it's weird and it's greasy and we all came away from it desperate for a sauna and a nice bath. But once you've got into it, you're like, oh, I remember this feeling from the last scene, so I'm able to continue on that journey. It's not like, oh, this lovely, it's been nice and laundry dried and I feel all fresh and I feel all great. And you're like, okay, now I gotta be sad. Oh God, you're like, I smell lovely. I feel great. But you're like, oh no, I feel terrible. I feel terrible. Okay, let's do this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
also
mean,
I feel like we get really used to it. Like I remember we have great pictures of all of us just like eating lunch and it's got like someone's got a spike in his head and someone's got his brains out and it's like even the smell. I remember recently I made pancakes and I had like the really like American maple syrup and it just smelled exactly like the blood. And I was like, "Oof," the flashbacks. It's like you get so used to the feeling and the smells and it's quite an experience. Yeah, unforgettable.
yeah, I agree. Like at first, I feel like you kind of have to get used to it. Like you're being careful to like what you touch, and like when you go for lunch break, you're like, okay, wait, I can't get blood on my stuff. And then after a while, like you spend 12 hours in like blood and sweat and paint and all the different layers that we had to like get from like shooting and all the scenes where we're running around and also in each other's blood. Like for example, Yasmin and Grace is full of blood like for most of the film, and like Yasmin and Grace, they have a lot of moments where they're like holding each other and carrying each other, and you even get into each other's blood and each other's like sweat and pain and whatever. So there's a point where it's like, well, you spend 12 hours like that, and it's just kind of the mood you're in, and just like what it is, and it's not like, ooh, it's gross or ooh, it's whatever. It's great actually, and it really gets you into it. And yeah.
I
What?
also have I
Yeah, go
have a
ahead.
fun blood story. So I was lying in a pool of blood for a long time. I probably like 7, 8 hours, which was incredibly uncomfortable, but not because of the blood, but because of the lying. It was just so uncomfortable. I remember we came to a scene where Benny had to slip in my blood, but it had to be perfect. Otherwise, it would be impossible with continuity to sort of reset. And I was like so nervous lying there, being like, Benny, please do this right, because otherwise I'm gonna have to lie here for another 3 hours. And Benny nailed it on that first take. He slipped in the blood. A little bit of blood, like even I think splattered the camera in like the perfect angle. And it was just beautiful. I was so happy. I was like, thank you, Benny, for not making me lie here for another 2 hours.
You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. And in fact, the little splatters of blood on the camera, that was all planned. It was all meticulously looked out and thought out, and I executed it. Thank you.
Good job, Benny. One take. That's quite impressive.
I was shitting myself, to be honest, because they were also like really scared for me to be doing that. They actually wanted to have like a stunt double do it, like a slip, because I had the huge gun as well that I was carrying. But I had my Tom Cruise moment, and I said, no, I'm gonna do it myself, and it worked.
And everyone was so happy that it was on that first take, because again, it would have been a nightmare to have to reset everything.
Yeah, it was like so quiet. Everyone was just like nervously. Then I was like, I can feel the tension every fucking where. Oh, sorry. But yeah, no, it worked. But it's also like again because we had like amazing stunt coordinators who like guided me through it. But yeah, no, everyone's super tense.
So in the secret of production, because you all got down and dirty and with all the gook and muck, what was the secret to actually get all this off? Did they teach you what to use to wash all this off of you?
You should have seen the shower.
Shaving, shaving foam. That is the biggest secret. Shaving foam gets rid of a fake blood like that.
Why
It's one
did
of the weirdest
nobody
things.
tell me?
No one
Wish I
told me
knew
this.
that.
No one told me this
Why did
either.
no one tell me this?
Really?
No,
I
it's
was I was
Robin
like they
situation.
couldn't afford anymore. I was using too much of it. Yeah, shaving foam.
No,
All
but the
gone.
shower, there was a shower in the location basically, and then at the end of the day we got to shower and it was the most beautiful shower you have ever experienced in your life. But also everything was red in this like bathroom because with water it gets everywhere, so it kind of looked like a murder had happened in that sort of bathroom. But yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a sort of a bathroom from The Shining or something like that. It was a bit a bit odd. Well, not that bathroom, but the hallway.
I mean, more than the blood, I think it was like the hardest to get out was the fluorescent paint. You know that scene where we're all in paint, so it had to obviously be a very specific paint so that it can glow in the dark because there's actually no other source of light in that scene. Like it was the like there was no like neon lights or anything to make it fluorescent. And so that was like very sticky, and they also had to put like layers of something else to like protect our hair and skin and everything from the paint. And so that was really hard to get out, and we had to shoot that for like over a week, I think, with like that paint. And so I think for me that was the hardest to get out. But also, I guess
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the character that gets the least blood on myself. So
Oh yeah, I remember the neon paint. There was a funny we when we shot that scene, I remember then I went to we couldn't I didn't get it off properly, and you can't see it because if you're in the light, you can't see that you have the paint on. And I remember I went to sleep on that. It was like a Friday. I went to sleep, and all of a sudden I woke up in the middle of the night because I was I was shining. I was glowing in the dark. I was like, wow. And then I fell back asleep. But that one was even harder to get off than the blood.
I'm actually surprised Alessia could actually wake up, see herself glow in the dark, and then go back to sleep. That is most impressive.
No, it was quite an experience. I always remember that, just waking up at 2 a.m., seeing my hands glowing, and be like, wow, this is quite a reality I'm living. I thought that was really fun.
And for each of you, just for shits and giggles, being in that makeup chair and I don't know how long you are in those makeup chairs for. I feel like Alicia's probably in there for like 10 hours a day for her part. What are you doing while they are applying makeup on you during that time?
I mean, it depends on the day. Sometimes you'd be really tired, you might sleep while they're doing it. And also the glue is like quite strong. They can make you a bit dizzy sometimes when they're applying everything to your face. Sometimes you might sleep, you might have a chat with the makeup artist, you might put music on. A lot of the time we'd have, especially at the end of the day when we take it off, we'd all be connected to the Bluetooth speaker and we'd put different tunes on and stuff. So just really depended on the day.
yeah, I think we were lucky that we had a really, really great makeup team. And so like most of the time it would just be like chatting and connecting, finding out more about each other's lives, and just as Tom said, like playing different songs, see show each other new songs, check out each other's tastes, and like just stuff like that. And also at the end of the day they would do us a little like massage after removing our makeup, which was like the best part of the day. Yeah, I think the makeup team was just the best.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite fun. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Benny.
I was just gonna add that I totally agree that the makeup department that is, I think, for an actor, one of the most important departments because it's the people that you start your day with and you end your day with. So it's really a really special the relationships that you build with the makeup artist. And they're also the ones that are like the closest to you, like physically speaking, also because they're in your face. They know you really intimately by the time that you finish the project. So yeah, it's really just bonding with them and getting to know the people that are going to touch your face for for the duration of the project.
Yeah, and it was also quite cool, like in comparison with other sort of sets where all of the various bits are in trailers and all separated at a, unit base, and then you all travel to location. Because of the way it all worked out, and because we built the sort of home idea, whatever sort of they named it, the IKEA, our set was one side of the road, and then the other side of the road, the production had taken over a sort of an old second-hand car dealership. So all of the various departments were in there. So it was kind of fun. Like you had the wardrobe right beside makeup, and beside that was the AD department. And so, especially at the end of the day, and also at the start of the day, the various tunes kind of got everyone kind of into a party spirit or into a really focused space. So it really felt like, in comparison with other ones, where it was sort of you dip your head into the AD truck to try and get something, and they're all running around like crazy trying to figure out what's happening. And then you go into the makeup, and they're all very calm. And then you go into the wardrobe, and it's a different vibe. It sort of felt like we were all sort of in this massive big vibe together, and it transported it. So it was a very different experience in that way as well, which I think kind of helped with so many aspects of the film as well.
Most excellent. Well, let me wrap it up with one last question because I know all of you had a lot of fun making this movie as we actually discussed. But when you actually finally watched this film, what ended up being your favorite scene since there's so many twists and turns for it? So can you tell us about your favorite scene that you're not in that you love to watch?
I tell you what, I can go straight in with one. It's the scene whenever Alicia is sat in the refrigerator, and everyone goes in to help her, and they're all in their various little bits. There's just a really beautiful shot from outside that is just still and looking in on them, and there's something of a painting to it. It kind of looks like sort of it almost looks like a bunch of angels desperately trying to claw their way out and upwards out of hell, out of this circumstance they're in, and they're all holding on to each other and all trying to get up to something. And that really struck me as an image. I was like, wow, there was a really powerful image in that with the stacked chairs. It kind of, I kind of wanted to sit in that moment for longer just to see what, but that's not the beautiful style of RKS. They're like, no, you don't get to sit in that. We're moving on. But yeah, that's one that really struck me.
I think for me, it's actually the ending when Grace dies together with Yaz. And it's like, I think because she's also so pale, to me, it reminds me of Titanic. And it's just like, she dies in her it's just so sad because also now Yaz is the only one that's left. And it was to me it's the most emotional. It makes me cry. Like that moment between the two of them where it's like, "Oh my God, no," because she really tried to save like everyone tried to save Grace and it was so close and that really gets to me that scene.
I guess one that comes to mind for me is a lot of the sequences where is kind of going back and forth between him hunting in his kind of mind. You know, those sequences where he's like in nature and he's out hunting, and it flips back to him in the store about to hunt us. I just thought the imagery was really striking, and it was edited so well, and Turlough was fantastic in it, really. So that's what comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the scene where Turlough starts putting the black paint all over his face and he's like starting to get into his zone, and it's not like he hasn't been crazy the past few minutes of the movie, but it's like that moment where you feel like, okay, oh shit, it's gonna go down now. There's no more child's play. He's like completely lost it, and yeah, that really
Jacqueline.
struck.
think it was the glow in the dark scene because well visually it's just like it's crazy because also you can recognize the characters just from like the paint that they have on them. And also because the whole the whole movie there is like the music and the screaming and all of this tension and then all of a sudden everything goes quiet and everything goes dark and there's just so much tension in that moment and you're like what you don't know what's going to happen and I don't know I just and even visually like it's really cool to watch so I really like that moment.
And I guess, Alicia, you have the toughest one because everyone named every single scene.
You guys come on, it's so annoying. No, I was also gonna say the glow in the dark scene, but then I also really like the all the scenes with the Jack and well, Turlough and Aiden, all the coming up to the moment where Charlotte comes in, and the initial contact with the kids, and the leading up to that, and where you really don't know what's gonna happen. I actually really like that watching the movie. I always look forward to that because it's like you think things are okay. It's eerie, and she comes in, and you're not sure how bad this is gonna turn out. So I really like that whole beginning chunk of the movie where you realize, oh, now this is changing. This is a different movie now. So yeah.
That is so true. All of you, you're so wonderful carrying this conversation with us about the film, about the behind the scenes, and I could tell it is a terrific experience. If people listen and watch this interview, they're going to have to put up the pieces and realize it is a terrific movie just to watch because it is deeply intense. So thank you very much for carrying this conversation with us about Wake Up because everyone's going to wake up watching this in the middle of the night. That's for certain.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you, mate.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
very much, man. Appreciate it.
I know.
Bye.